Today we have published the findings of this jointly commissioned review into the 8th of August breach. As a board, we welcome the detail of the report, which provides a series of recommendations for making sure that information assurance and governance policies, procedures and practice within the PSNI meets the national best practice going forward. Whilst this review was commissioned to look specifically at PSNI systems and processes, it is evident this seminal report has lessons for other policing services and public sector organisations who manage large sets of sensitive and personal data. We will now take time to fully digest and discuss the findings with the Chief Constable so that any action plan for implementation can be agreed. The board remains very mindful of the immense impact that this data breach had within the PSNI and all the officers and staff who were directly affected. We have and will continue to engage with all the staffing associations. We trust this comprehensive review will also provide the necessary assurances to all those outside of the PSNI who express concerns following this breach. Through implementation of these findings, we hope confidence in the approach to information management within the PSNI and the governance and oversight of that can be fully restored. On behalf of the board, our thanks are extended to Temporary Commissioner Pete O'Doherty, the National Police Chiefs Council Lead for Information Assurance and Cyber Security, and his expert team for completing the review within the agreed time frame. I'll hand over to the Chief Constable. Thank you.
Thank you, Deirdre. So, thanks everybody for coming this afternoon. So, a few things I want to say very briefly. Firstly, for me, the report sets out very clearly the need for organisational guidance and leadership in prioritising information security as we do physical security. We need proper training. We need updated processes, and those processes need to be supported by enhanced and modern technology, with effective auditing and monitoring of those processes, with then regular end-to-end reviews of those processes. We are establishing a data board, as recommended within the report, which will be chaired by the Deputy Chief Constable, to oversee the recommendations being implemented. I intend to bring the review team back to critique our response to make sure that it is satisfactory to them. The team have agreed to do this, and again I'd like to pass my thanks as the chair to the review team and Peter O'Doherty for his work on this. Every police force, every public sector organisation should read this report. It's certainly a wake-up call for every police force in the country, in my view. It was difficult reading, but I accept and indeed embrace the learning within it. As the report shows, no individual, team, department or decision, or indeed act, caused this breach. This is an organisational failing, an accumulation of issues. There were missed opportunities over a period of time. This report, as I say, is a wake-up call to everybody. We must take responsibility as a leadership team for this and prioritise information security in our day-to-day business in the same way as we do, particularly in Northern Ireland, with our physical security. I, of course, acknowledge and respect the fact that the ICO are still to report on the data breach. I would just like to express my gratitude to the Department of Justice and the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland in supporting some financial requirements we've made in response to the breach, which has allowed us to enable a universal offer to be made to our officers and staff around security arrangements that they can now make to their homes. I also want to thank our officers and staff for their responsibility, their dedication, and indeed their resilience in dealing with this data breach in the way they have done. They've been incredibly stoic. They have very much, by and large, remained at work. And I hope that they realise, with the responses that we've already made within the organisation, that we value the information that we have about them, as indeed we do about all data that is held by the PSNI. And we will ensure that we become an organisation of best practice with regards to the security of all information.